to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, I'm reviewing episode 4 of And Just Like That. This episode picked up a little bit more than the previous episode. I feel like episodes 1 and 2 were really strong and pulled me back into this universe. Episode 3 felt like filler. Episode 4, I think, got over or slid by with the excellent cameos. So let's get right into it. So Carrie is at breakfast or lunch or whatever at a restaurant, and her former editor from Vogue, Enid, is walking by but trying to avoid her because she didn't reach out in time about Big's passing. And Enid is still as blunt and kind of crass as ever. And Carrie kind of tries to see if she can get Enid to support her book. She asked about a blurb, and Enid is like, girl, I saw it. I just was like, I ain't want to. Which, I can appreciate that kind of honesty. And it's fun for a show, but in real life, girl, don't talk to me like that. Be honest, but be honest with compassion. I will throw a cup of tepid water in your face. Like, don't do that. So Enid has stepped down from Vogue, and she's now doing this newsletter that's doing really well. And I can tell you, in real life, a lot of people who were once really well-to-do staff writers have transitioned to a newsletter format, and they're doing really well with it. It's something that I have not committed to as a writer. But Enid is also starting a online magazine called Vivant, which is supposed to center older women of a certain age. And this kind of triggers a bit of ageism for Carrie, because it's like, I know that I'm older, but I'm not as old as you. And that's fair. Age is relative. I can absolutely attest to the fact that as a 35, soon to be 36-year-old woman, the media makes me feel like I'm supposed to be older than I feel like I am. And it's just like, if you are a woman over 25, you are old bitch, period. And that's just not true. So I can really kind of feel Carrie on this, because it's just like, are we in the same boat? So Enid is kind of hinting that, oh, if you want to write for Vivant, maybe it's implied that if Carrie writes for Vivant, that she may be able to slide a blurb or a promo for her book. Because from Enid's perspective, it's like, girl, do you know how many writers I know? If I plug your book, I have to plug everybody's, which is fair. We love establishing clear boundaries. So Carrie, meanwhile, is getting text messages from this older gentleman. And it's like, how did this man get my number? Who even is this? So Seema admonishes Carrie to go to the pop-up party, brunch, whatever, for Vivant that Enid is hosting. And she's just like, everything is a negotiation. Maybe if you do this, she'll do this. A little quick pro quo. I hope I'm using that properly. And so at this brunch, she runs into Bitsy Von Muffling, which I just love that name, because whose name is that? And I love that she's just this kind of like auntie, just like a shoulders auntie, kind of ooh. And this is who has given this older man Carrie's contact information. And she's like, girl, you need to hit him up, because he's a good ride. He's a good time. We, call him tripod, all these things. So she sends Carrie a dick pic to, entice her to sweeten the deal. And I continue to be so annoyed with how prudish Carrie is. And let's be clear, a person can talk about sex and be a sexual being without wanting to engage in those conversations in real life, for sure. But I still find it really annoying how uncomfortable Carrie is with conversations about sex. Given what her column has been, given her age, I feel like, I might just be talking about me and my friends, but I feel like as we've gotten older, we've gotten more comfortable talking about these kinds of things. And it seems like Carrie is almost reverting. I don't know. It's annoying. So we're at the pop-up. Everything's great. Gloria Steinem is there. I love me some Gloria Steinem. I got to go see her play when it was here in New York. And love her down, happy that she's still with us and still doing things. And Carrie talks to her about her feelings about ageism, and she's like, wow, okay, I still have work to do. And I think that's the purpose of being around a diverse kinds of women, because it can really kind of help you to solidify or get to a better place of how you feel about yourself internally, so that you can also do the work of helping others. So I just thought that was a really nice moment. um, so turns out Carrie was not being asked to write for Vivant. She was being asked to donate $100,000. And Enid was like, girl, your husband just died. You got the money. So what you trying to do? And once again, a dick pic ruins a life, because Enid immediately knew, swiping through to look at the photo that she and Gloria Steinem and Carrie took. She sees this dick pic and automatically knows that it's her boyfriend. And it's just like, girl, how you know that? How can you pick it out of a lineup? Don't tell me. I don't want to know how you could pick it out of a lineup, but how could you pick it up out of a lineup? How? So Carrie puts her foot in her mouth and basically calls Enid old. So I don't know where they landed. Did Carrie just decide, I'm just going to write a check to make this go away? Is she going to get a book plug from Enid? Like, where did we land there? I don't know. It was an awkward moment, because dick pics sometimes makes things awkward. And so, yeah, I don't know where we landed there. So Charlotte's kids and LTW's kids are off for the summer. Charlotte and Harry are just going to use this time to really get it on. And this is, again, like one of my fears about being a married couple with children, is that you lose the intimacy time. That makes me sad and scared. And so Harry is not producing, like he's climaxing, but there's no product at the end of it. I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, oh, did Harry get like a vasectomy? I don't even know how that works, to be honest with you. It's not something that I've had to investigate personally. I have to say that I was not prepared to see jizz on this show, so I was kind of happy and relieved that it didn't happen. But it was also like, oh, this is interesting. So they go to the doctor just to see like if everything's okay. And what was the thing like with the doctor being hungry? Is this like a statement like that medical workers or healthcare workers are overworked? What was that? What was that? I don't know what that was about, but it's perfectly natural, and like apparently his sperm went into his bladder instead of out, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know that was a thing that could happen. But I do like that we're highlighting or exploring these different things that happen to bodies as they age. Managing a body is a constantly changing experience. The things that you didn't have to worry about in your 20s, you now have to think about in your 30s, just to be comfortable walking around in this meat bag. And so I also really love the support that like Charlotte is such a supportive person. She felt like, this is a thing that you have an issue with, I'm going to help you resolve it. And I love the partnership that she's like teaching him how to like increase the strength of his pelvic floor and all of these things. And this is like a mutual benefit for both of them. But I thought it was just like really sweet, the level of like emotional and physical intimacy that they have with each other. I really love Harry and Charlotte a lot. I've said before, Charlotte is not my favorite person, but this season she's being a lot more chill, so I'm really enjoying her. I don't understand why they inserted the scene of Harry successfully climaxing, not non-successfully, but climaxing with an end. Why did they show Harry jizzing after Gloria Steinem's speech? What was that? Why'd they put that scene right there? Like, did my app glitch? I was so confused about that. I'm over here acting like Carrie, like I don't know how to talk about sex, but I don't know y'all like that. Anyway, so LTW and Herbert their whole goal was to celebrate their anniversary and to get a lot of work done during this like child-free weekend. So they're at the Mark. I love having martinis at the Mark. It's just such a vibe in there. Sometimes you see older gentlemen trying to pick up younger women. It hasn't been me yet, But it's just such a cute little vibe in there. And they're just talking about all the things that they can do and get done being child free for the week or however long. And Herbert is being this very attentive and considerate spouse and saying, I am not going to run for comptroller because I know that most of the responsibility will fall on you. You already have a lot going on. I just don't think that it's the right time for us. And, you know, he's sent out these invitations for their anniversary party, and there's this partnership going. And I was like, yes, this is what I'm hoping for. And then they get to the anniversary party, and Herbert completely forgot to hit send on the emails. So they have like a multi-course dinner for 30 people, and it's only like 4 or 5 people there. And the only thing that I could think is like, please box up that food and take it to an unhoused shelter. That stressed me out. I don't know why on television shows or movies, like uneaten food stresses me out. Like they do that a lot on Succession. It's just food sitting there that no one's eating. And I'm like, who? Ain't nobody gonna touch these pastries. What's happening here? So LTW's dad is Billy D. Williams. And I was like, bitch, what? So he and Mother Wexley are basically two sides of the same coin. They both think that their kid is the star of the relationship. LTW's dad is a poet and artist, kind of an anti-capitalist, right? Where Mother Wexley is very not that. This is the Jack and Jill kind of blacks. You know, Mother Wexley is very respectability politics and very capitalism, and that's not true for LTW's dad. And so this dinner is incredibly tense because LTW also forgot to order the cake. Like both of these people are too busy for life. So they both drop the ball on this party. You can tell that there's tension, but I just want to talk about Charlotte looked great in that pink, and LTW looked amazing in that cake dress. I would wear that to go to the liquor store. Like that dress was stunning. I also am really loving her collection of wigs. Like Nicole Ari Parker can rock a bob. I love a black woman in a bob. Like stunning, stunning. I want Mother Wexley to get her comeuppance. She is so draining. The fact that she's constantly complaining, and is anyone going to say anything? Like, we're just going to sweep it under the rug that this woman is incredibly rude to everyone all the time. I can't live my life like that. Meanwhile, LTW invited this gallery owner to the party who Charlotte knows and is familiar with, and they, you know, had like a previous professional interaction, and he invites Charlotte to come back to work at the gallery, and Charlotte's like, oh, my kids need me too much. And it's like, well, you admire LTW so much for having this career and quote unquote having it all, but you're putting your passion to the side just for your kids. Like your kids are your identity. Another thing that terrifies me about being a wife and mother, I don't ever want that to be the totality of my identity. And I really hope that Charlotte takes him up on that offer and kind of dips back into her passions, because like your kids are teenagers, they will be out of the house in 5 minutes because time is just a social construct at this point. But then what are you going to be left with? So I feel like at least go, you know, slide through the gallery once or twice a week to say have something to do, share. So feeling the pressure of judgment from both her dad and Herbert's mom, because, you know, LTW's dad is like, well, all Herbert really does is just like uphold capitalism, which is like harmful to our community. What has he ever done that didn't result in money? And she feels very pressured to say that, like, and Mother Wexley is like, you know, I baked my own cakes. I didn't have to order cakes. So things always got done. I supported my husband's career. That was my life. That was my job. And she feels this pressure to say that, you know what, he is going to run for comptroller and I'm going to support him. And it's just like, girl, just because you drunk, don't sign y'all, both of y'all up for something y'all not really ready to do. And also, I just have a hard time watching people not stand up to their parents. You grown just like they grown. We can all be respectful, but don't play in my face like that. I can't deal with that. So Miranda is in New York. She's crashing on the couch. I think that the powers that be heard what we said about Steve. We did not want Steve to be this decrepit, sad old man. So Steve is waking up in the morning, doing his little boxing routine, waking everybody up in the house. Brady is recovering from his breakup, but he feels like he's fine. And Miranda, I feel like because she feels so guilty for leaving the marriage, for participating in another relationship, she's making herself as small as possible in this situation. She's sleeping on the couch. She's kind of tiptoeing around, and they are going to go to like group therapy, like as a family. And Brady is like, listen, I'm over my breakup. I want to talk about y'all's. What is happening here? So Steve, in true Steve form, is like, you know what? I'll move out. I can find a place closer to the bar. It's fine. He, is happy to give Miranda the house. And it's like, my heart still just goes out to Steve. And Brady doesn't want to go back to college in the fall. And again, Miranda has a lot of thoughts about this, but she's keeping them to herself because she's punishing herself for not still being in the family, a part of the family, for wanting to leave the family or restructure the family, maybe we should say. And yeah, she's like really shrinking herself. So Shay has a place in New York. Lyle, the ex, drove Shay cross country from LA. So he's at the place. Carrie comes over with Miranda. They're all sitting around talking and, rehashing like how these two ended up married and all this stuff like that. Long story short, there's a threesome. And I was like, okay, so, I do my best to be sex positive. I, approach things with curiosity over conviction. Here's my curiosity. Has Shay been sleeping with Lyle off and on like this whole time? If he can just like slide up behind her, like, is that why they didn't get divorced? Like, I would just have some questions. And Miranda is, on this journey of self-discovery, and I think wants to be more free, wants to be more, sex positive for herself. And she tries to participate in this threesome. It just doesn't work out. And I'm happy that at least Shay had enough self-awareness to not just sleep with Lyle and to go and join Miranda on the broken couch. This was just a lot for me. But I'm going to tell you what I do appreciate. Sex between people is awkward sometimes, and in the exploration of what you like, what we like together, what we're comfortable with, it can be kind of bumpy. And so I can appreciate seeing that kind of intimacy portrayed, but it was also just like, oh no, Miranda, you are not this girl. You're not this girl. We applaud you for trying, but you're not this girl. So her identity crisis just continues and continues. And I guess this is just where we are on this show with this character, and like, fine, whatever. So that was episode 4. Much better than the previous episodes. Yeah, I have my notes. So we'll see what happens with the rest of the season. I forgot that we're looking out for Aiden to come back. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought. Are you enjoying the season so far? Be sure to subscribe, share, like, join my Patreon if you want to continue to support the platform. And I will see you guys for episode 5. Bye.